We're visiting the San Francisco Zoo and Gardens. Is it worth visiting in 2026? Now, San Francisco Zoo has been operating at a budget deficit for many years, since the pandemic, and there's questions about its survival. There's been allegations that the zoo is not maintaining the property,
possibly endangering the animals.
76% of the residents of San Francisco say that the San Francisco Zoo needs to be renovated and maybe transformed into something else. There's a group of people who are trying to push an eco park that has no animals.
There is some hope, and the animals at the zoo are not headed for the door quite yet.
The zoo wants to get some panda bears here. They cost $1 million a year to attract more people to visit the zoo. Over 50% of the residents of San Francisco don't support the pandas coming here, and it's really the last hope for the zoo to increase membership. At the end of the video, we'll give you our honest opinion, what's going on here at the San Francisco Zoo, and whether it's worth visiting in 2026.
We'll also include visitor tips at the end of the video, but let's get straight to the checking out the zoo now. The San Francisco Zoo has geographic groupings. There's a central pathway with branches to explore. You need to actively navigate, and we'll give you some tips near the end of the video. Our tour of the San Francisco Zoo goes counterclockwise to the African Savannah. San Francisco's climate is similar in some ways to the Savannah, but it's cooler here, so the animals provided barns, windbreaks, and heaters. The San Francisco Zoo offers a VIP tour where you get to feed the giraffes, or just be here at around 11 in the morning so you can witness the fun action. Here you see western lowland gorillas. They're critically endangered in the wilds of Africa. Some mammals tend to live longer in zoos than in the wild since they're protected from starvation, human conflict, and injuries. This area of the zoo can be a heartwarming family experience. Now let's explore one of the older but popular areas of the San Francisco Zoo, the Cat Kingdom, or as I call it, the middle area. This is where you find the rhino, the wolverine, the penguins, and the lion house. The zoo hopes to renovate the lion house if the stars align for a panda exhibit. When the zoo first opened in 1940, this area housed the pachyderms, which most people call elephants. Being an urban zoo, they later realized they didn't have enough space for these large social creatures. Throughout the zoo, there are storybook boxes that tell stories about the animals.
Unfortunately, most of the zoo keys I've tried don't actually work. It's supposed to be able to hear the story by turning the key, and it doesn't work.
Okay, let's move on and check out what the Cat Kingdom has to offer. The lions are cool, but there's not much going on here. Even though the central area of the park is somewhat dated, there's often volunteer docents that provide value with information and let you touch displays. Pro tip, interact with them.
By the size here and the sagittal crest, you get the sense of a really strong jaw. And they will bite down really hard, which is why they have a gap in their optical bones, because that relieves the pressure. And the big cats have that as well. Your house cat has that.
The penguins are a crowd favorite. It's entertaining to see them swim and play. For an extra special treat, you can normally see them fed at 10:30 and 3. Now let's see how family-friendly the bear country is. This area is located on the east or backside of the park. Bear country is sometimes a favorite place to go with kids, but the bears are in a state of hibernation during the winter, so there's nothing to see at this time. Except a hungry American wolf. Empty animal exhibits due to hibernation is not the fault of the zoos, but it does leave room for disappointment. Oh look, here comes the little puffer train. This is a family favorite in San Francisco, especially for those families sporting strollers. This is one of those zoo attractions that has an extra cost. The little puffer steam train has a long history at the San Francisco Zoo. This area also has a convenient but limited snack bar. Now our zoo tour goes to the South American tropical rainforest and aviary. The building does have some old world charm, and the rainforest is inside, so it's a hidden gem when the weather's bad out. Visitors generally like the family farm section of the San Francisco Zoo for its interactive, kid-friendly environment. The barnyard has a slow pace, and the kids can touch the goats or brush them. Now we visit two places in the zoo where kids' imaginations can soar: the playground and the carousel. The playground is divided into 3 bio-themed zones designed for specific age groups. Children can enjoy naturalistic adventures such as sliding down an iceberg. Warning, some parents complain it's too appealing because children want to stay here for hours rather than seeing the rest of the zoo. A recent addition to the playground area is the Wild Explorer. For an additional cost, kids can experience 360-degree films, transporting them to distant habitats. The playground and carousel are conveniently located near cafes and restrooms. Found one that worked.
Our Eugene Friend Denso Carousel, originally carved between 1885 and 1890.
This provides whimsical, affordable fun at just $4 per person, and sometimes supervising adults can stand by their child for free. Okay, is the San Francisco Zoo worth it in 2026? That honestly depends on what your other zoo options are, how old your kids are, and how far you're willing to travel. What you need is a side-by-side comparison of the other zoos in the Bay Area. No worries, we have that for you. Hey folks, now would be a good time to pause the video and take a screenshot of this comparison of San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose zoos. San Francisco has an old-school animal conservation zoo, with some good and some bad exhibits. They mix in a decent amount of entertainment like the family farm, the playground, the carousel, and the steam train. Even at 100 years old, I think it's still a good option for locals who don't want to travel far. San Francisco has a low number of family households and kids compared to other metro areas like Oakland and San Jose, so saving this former San Francisco jewel may take more drastic change than just bringing in panda bears. About 40 minutes over the Bay Bridge is the Oakland Zoo. This zoo is also convenient from the San Francisco Peninsula. Often called the best in the Bay Area, the Oakland Zoo does require a lot of walking but is stroller friendly. Located in San Jose, another San Francisco Bay Area zoo is Happy Hollow Park and Zoo. This zoo is only 16 acres compared to San Francisco and Oakland both being 100 acres. The small size and being half park, half zoo makes it perfect for the little ones. Now returning to the San Francisco Zoo, here's our few visitor tips. Navigating the park can be difficult, and the park no longer gives out paper maps. You can use the zoo website for maps and schedules, or if you're feeling lucky, just take photos of the maps posted at the zoo. It's worth knowing the animal feeding and keeper chat times. The free zoo app includes both the schedules and an interactive real-time map. Final tip, the zoo has paid parking, but there's often free parking available on Sloat Boulevard. Thanks for visiting that place. Comment on what you like and dislike about the San Francisco Zoo. Is it worth visiting in 2026?